Good afternoon and welcome to the vCISO Edge Critical Cybersecurity Protection for Healthcare Organizations. My name is Kate Smith and I'm the Vice President of Client Success here at IT Solutions. I'm joined today by our VP of Solution Enablement, Tyler Sanders, as well as Rashwan Saeed, our Manager of vCISO Services and Cybersecurity Consulting, to talk about a new opportunity to better serve our clients. Thanks for joining me today, gentlemen.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks, Kate.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Okay, few housekeeping items before we dive in. All attendees are in listen-only mode to avoid any feedback issues. The webinar is being recorded and will be made available to registered attendees. Please look for the recording in your inbox in the coming weeks. We absolutely love questions. Please feel free to use the Q&A button on the bottom of the Zoom window, and we will field all of those questions at the conclusion of today's session. As your IT and cybersecurity partner, we sit at the intersection of hundreds of client environments, regulatory requirements, and evolving threats. That gives us a unique perspective. We see not just isolated incidents, but patterns and risks that are consistently targeting healthcare organizations like yours. What we're seeing today is a threat landscape that's more aggressive, more complex, and frankly, more unforgiving than ever before. Some of the key challenges that our healthcare organizations face relate to ransomware with patient impact and care downtime. Attacks don't just lock data, they disrupt care. Downtime in EMR's care delivery or scheduling directly affects patient safety and trust. And threat actors use this information to get to a quick and costly payout. Regulatory changes. Healthcare organizations are under constant compliance pressure. Regulators, insurance, and even state laws are raising expectations for proof of cybersecurity maturity. Many clinics and practices are relying heavily on EHR platforms, billing systems, and patient portals. A breach in one vendor can cascade to every provider tied to it. Social engineering remains a constant threat. Busy clinical and administrative staff are prime phishing targets. AI-powered lures make these attacks harder to spot and more pervasive. PHI and PII value and breach concerns. Healthcare data is among the most valuable on the black market. Breach notification requirements and penalties make even small incidents incredibly costly. And lastly, smaller practices often run lean and IT teams. Tools may be in place, but without strategic oversight, it's really hard to prioritize risk and scale security programs effectively. So the million-dollar question is, where do we go from here? I'm excited to say we have some answers. But before we dig in, let's take a step back and really acknowledge where we are today. The work and investments you've already committed to securing the future of your business. Most of you already have a strong foundation in place with tools like multi-factor authentication, MFA, and or email threat protection that block common entry points. And these are essential strategic investments. They are absolutely necessary. And without them, your risk starts to exponentiate. But here's the challenge. Each of these tools produces signals, data, and alerts, but none of them on their own tell us what matters most in the grand scheme of things. And as we just saw in the threat landscape, ransomware, regulatory pressure, third-party risk, social engineering, these problems we can't necessarily solve with these technologies alone. We have to have the right building blocks. But there's a strategic component that is missing. And that is something that ITS has recognized. To better correlate the strategy with the security components, I'm going to hand things off to Tyler and Rashwan, and they're going to walk us through our vCISO cybersecurity.
Thanks, Kate. Yeah, and this is exactly where the vCISO cybersecure program comes in. It doesn't replace what you've already invested in. It elevates it through executive oversight, a strategic roadmap, and more so your investments are working in harmony, aligned to your business goals, and focus on the risks that matter most. Remember, security is a journey and not a destination. So we built this program to be more than a service. It's our way of partnering with you beyond what you've already received from a strategic advisor and from the technology roadmap. So you have clarity and confidence knowing what you're doing what you need to have secured. Ridgewan, we've been talking about the threat landscape and the tools most clients already have in place. So what exactly is vCISO Cybersecure and how is it different from cybersecurity services our clients already have in place?
Sure, Tyler. Our vCISO Cybersecure is our virtual Chief Information Security Officer program, but it's a lot more than just hours with the vCISO. Uh, we built this into a true executive level cybersecurity partnership, and partnership being the key word here. Every client gets a designated vCISO who works alongside the client's leadership team, and should they have their internal IT with them as well to make the best cybersecurity decisions that are very specific to their business and not just a general overview program. And if a client has a chief information security officer on staff already, this program serves as a second set of eyes to partner with them to be an extension of their CISO team to reach their business goals.
Yeah, so if a client already has tools like MFA, EDR, maybe even vulnerability scanning in place, what does this program actually add?
So that's a very it's an excellent question. These tools are essential part of an organization cyber resilience. Like you must have them. That's like pretty much your base. But they produce signals that we should act on. These are not strategy. What's missing is a layer of interpreting those signals, prioritizing them. In short, the governance of your cybersecurity is the piece that this adds on, and that's exactly where this vCISO Secure program comes in. We translate those signals into business outcomes to help you focus on what is important first. It's a partnership with clients. We develop a strategic cybersecurity roadmap against specific regulatory frameworks that are in alignment with clients' business goals and the level of risk tolerance they have. And we give them executive ready reporting that not only satisfies boards, insurance, but also regulators to show them evidence that the continuous um, things that they need to do as part of the regulation that they are doing it, and it's evidence based that yes, those reviews that needed to happen are actually happening.
Right. And that's really why we created this program. We saw that clients invested in strong tools, but some are still asking to go beyond our IT roadmap and technology reports, whether it's to meet compliance requirements or just to have a competitive advantage in the marketplace. I mean, vCISO Cybersecure will answer these questions, giving you the clarity and confidence you need at the executive level. So our vCISO Cybersecure program, it comes in two different tiers. And the standard vCISO tier, as you can see in the middle column, is for clients that need to strengthen their security posture, reduce risk, and get that executive level support and guidance. But you don't necessarily have strict compliance obligations. As a best practice, the assessments and deliverables are aligned to a standard framework like the CIS Top 18 controls. It also includes semi-annual reviews and reporting. Then there's the regulatory tier, and that's shown in the column on the right, which goes a step further. That's designed for clients who must maintain alignment with specific regulatory frameworks and need ongoing validation to stay secure and audit ready. In this tier, the cadence is quarterly, and the advisory goes deeper into compliance oversight.
So to add to that, so if you are a healthcare vertical and you need to follow HIPAA, then this regulatory tier is actually built for you. The vCISO cybersecurity regulatory is actually built specifically for cases like this. It's not about getting you compliant from scratch where you have never looked at it. It's about having that second pair of eyes. It's about making sure that those reviews that are required as part of the regulation are being done. And it's not like when you are actually audited, that's when the client has to scramble to accumulate that evidence. It's just everything is being done as it should be done and everything is working, so that check mark is easy. And to add to that, if there are concerns currently about meeting compliance or understanding where they are in the journey, we can help with a gap assessment outside of these programs where we see where they are today, what needs to be done to get them to compliance ready. And then this program helps to keep them compliant, make sure all the check boxes that are needed across the year are actually being met.
Right. So exactly, Rijwan. And on the other hand, if you're not under those kinds of requirements yet, or haven't, fallen into the compliance framework that you need to be in, the standard program gives you the same strategic oversight without pushing that compliance component down your throat before you're ready, or if it's not needed altogether. So our goal here isn't to force one path; it's to give you a program that meets where you are. Whether you need best practice framework to mature your security program or regulatory alignment to satisfy auditors, the vCISO Cybersecure gives you the flexibility and ongoing support. So when we move into the ongoing support, Rijwan, let's walk through what this program actually looks like in practice. What does a client get when they sign on to vCISO Cybersecure?
Thanks. We always begin with the foundation. We build a base first. The base is about understanding what is going on first. So we start with a security maturity level assessment, which is basically looking at where you are today based on a framework, be it CIS, HIPAA. Where are you today? How far away are you from it? And then we sit down and build a risk register that captures specific risks to a specific organization, not just the healthcare industry in general, but that specific healthcare organization. What are risks to their specific business? And out of this, we get two very tangible deliverables. One is the security roadmap that prioritizes what needs to happen, when, and why, and an executive dashboard that gives the leadership a clear and holistic picture of what the risks are to the organization and the progress that's being made against it. And right out of the gate, you're not just getting analysis, you're getting evidence-based, and that's the important part. It's evidence-based targets that guide decisions both at the technical and at the executive levels.
Right. So once these foundations are in place, what happens after that?
So after that, it's the ongoing oversight. It's the call it the year-long program where we are having strategic review sessions with the leadership. We're updating the executive dashboard with where are we, what progress is being made. It's an annual cyber risk assessment to refresh the big picture, and it's a regular review of where you are in terms of dark web exposure, what is happening with your SIM data, is there any concern there, how are your vulnerabilities being handled. It's about the security awareness training. The point here is consistency. We don't just hand you a roadmap and disappear. We validate progress, we interpret signals that are coming in, and we adjust the roadmap as threats are evolving, and as well as business priorities.
Yeah, so on top of the reviews, we already provide policy guidance and workshops, support with things like insurance questionnaires and advisory around compliance framework readiness. These aren't theoretical exercises. They're the kind of deliverables you can actually use in board meetings, insurance renewals, or audits. They show that your program isn't just running tools, it's maturing strategically. So to that point, when you look at it all together, there's a clear sequence. First, establish your baseline, then build a risk register in the roadmap, layer on ongoing oversight and supporting activities to help your team. The value is that you're not left guessing. You have structure, you have clarity, measurable outcomes that keep your cybersecurity investments working for you. We've talked about the engagement model, but let's hone in on the role of the vCISO itself. Rizwan, can you explain more about what this person actually does?
Yeah, good question, Tyler. So vCISO really is your cybersecurity partner at the executive level. Your job is sit alongside leadership and internal IT, should you have it, and not just talk about tools and talk about alerts that are coming in, but to translate what that cybersecurity, those alerts, those signals mean into business outcomes, cyber risks, and priorities that you should be focused on. They act as an unbiased cybersecurity steward, someone who isn't selling you a product, pushing a single control that just get it done, but it's about helping you build a sustainable cybersecurity maturity program. They interpret the deliverables like risk register as dashboards into actionable next steps that healthcare organization can actually use.
Yeah, and if any of you already have a CISO, I mean, this program's still a great fit. It's not a replacement for an internal CISO. If you already have one, IT Solutions vCISO acts as a second set of eyes and an extension to your team. We can validate strategies, help prioritize initiatives, provide extra bandwidth where your internal team might be stretched. It's like reinforcing what you already have in place. Your CISO's driving the strategy, and our vCISO cybersecure program supports that with structured reviews, the reporting, alignment to frameworks, and then together we make sure there's no blind spots and your cybersecurity roadmap stays on track. So whether you have a CISO or not, programs about helping you make informed decisions, reduce risk, and build long-term practices rooted in a risk-informed approach. It's another layer of confidence that your business is focusing on the right risks at the right time. So as we start to close out, let's recap what makes our vCISO cybersecure approach different from what other IT providers might deliver for the healthcare sector.
Sure, let me go with that. Most providers focus on tools or one-off assessments. We built this program to be about progress you can see and measure. So instead of just giving a compliance checklist, you get deliverables that drive real movement, a roadmap, dashboards, maturity, growth that you can show to your leadership, to your regulators, and even your insurance company. This year-long record of progress all leads towards reduced risk and protecting your bottom line by not only making sure that you're investing in the right controls, the right cybersecurity, but also protection from those costly payouts, those fines that could potentially be come out as a part of a breach, a exposure of EHR or PHI. So that's really what this is all about.
Yeah. And we know healthcare organizations face unique challenges, from protecting patient data, meeting HIPAA requirements, managing third-party EHR systems, and ensuring patient care isn't disrupted. So we've tailored this program to those realities. It's not just generic cybersecurity. It's designed to align with the pressures and expectations healthcare providers face every day. The outcome's simple: clarity for leadership, confidence in compliance, and a program that helps keep your cybersecurity investments to working towards what matters most in healthcare: protecting patient data, maintaining operational continuity, care delivery, and building trust with patients and partners. So Kate, over to you now. I know we want to open it up for some Q&A. You've also want to talk about possible future events together, and I'll let you lead with that.
Sure, thanks, Tyler. Before we move into our Q&A, I do want to get some input from our attendees. We're always looking to drive fun and meaningful events for our clients. I would like to know if our clients, our attendees, have interest in any of the following types of events where ITS would bring some of our security experts, analysts, these CISOs, to have really tailored, in-depth conversations with clients. We can answer your specific questions around healthcare compliance needs, vCISO services, and oversight. So our marketing team has a quick poll up on the screen, if you'd be so kind as to let us know what kind of event most excites you for future planning. Thank you. So with that, thank you all again so much for joining us today. We went fast through the content and we covered a lot of ground. We talked about the evolving threat landscape, as well as tools that are already in place. And finally, how our vCISO cybersecure program can elevate those investments with strategy, oversight, and measurable outcomes. My favorite, Rashwan, is the strategy. I think that you really articulated that so nicely to our clients. And it is often a missing component, I think, when we're talking about IT strategy as it relates to the current baseline security investments. We hope you'll consider this program as a way to strengthen your cybersecurity posture, but more importantly, to know that we're here to support you. You can always reach out to your strategic advisor or anyone on the ITS team for that. Since we're fortunate to have our experts, Tyler and Rashwan, with us today, I'd love to open the floor for some questions. While we've been chatting about the service, a few questions have come into our chat. So go ahead and let me start with Patrick has a great question, Rashwan. How many clients does a vCISO typically manage simultaneously? Can they, this is a couple part question, can they assist in responding to audits? And would that be all inclusive or does it require help desk hours? Great questions, Patrick.
Yeah, thanks, Kate. It's actually multiple questions, so I'll go in the order of which I remember them that you asked them. So yes, a typical vCISO, depending on the size and complexity of the client, can support five to 10 clients. In terms of actual, is everything included? The answer is we get you audit ready by the constant program, making sure everything's in place, but the actual audit support, absolutely, the vCISO can help you and should be part of that audit, but it is not included as part of the package. It is whenever there is an audit and the assistance is needed, we scope that out differently because there is no way that we can actually gauge how long an audit can take, not based on the client's own preparedness, but how stringent the auditor is. And so it's difficult for us to figure out upfront how much an audit is the effort that is going to an audit is going to take. In terms of is it going to be just the vCISO team? No, we have access to everybody in the entire IT solutions organization. So any data that we would need, and if you choose to go with a vCISO to help with that audit support, the vCISO will coordinate the backend and whoever needs to be involved in providing that data.
Thank you, Rashwan. Patrick, if you have some additional follow-up, go ahead and add it to the chat and we can answer additional questions. I had a question come in, Rashwan. I think this is really good and dovetails nicely into what you were just, talking about. How does the vCISO interact and complement the strategic advisor? Is it you have a different meeting schedule? They have to manage these two groups separately. Can you talk about the harmonious nature in which we intend to provide the service?
That's a good question, Kate. The strategic advisor and the vCISO are partners in this. They both have the same goal to make the client cyber resilient, safe, secure, and with the highest uptime. So in terms of what's the difference between the two in terms of strategies, vCISO focuses more on your cyber security strategy, whereas the strategic advisor focuses on, I don't want to use the word everything else, but they do like the overall strategy. Now you have somebody in addition to your strategic advisor who is honed in on your security, and they will work as a partner, transparent to the client, where the vCISO identifies something in the roadmap that needs to change, that is very specific to the client that the discussions are being had with. They would talk to the strategic advisor, have something, let's say an investment that the client needs to make. They think, hey, we found this major risk specific to this client. They'll have issues passing the audit. It needs to, this is the sequence in which we need to better them, or whatever that next strategy is. They work together, they come in the same quarterly business review, and the quarterly security review happen together, hand in hand, and it's a unified discussion. It's not like, strategic advisor is telling me to do something, the vCISO is telling me to do something else. It's nothing like that. It's with one team with one goal.
So if the vCIO or the strategic advisor, if the strategic advisor is the general practitioner, the vCISO is my specialist, correct? In
Absolutely, that's a good way to put it.
Whole healthcare. Okay, I want to try to just tie it back to our audience. So that's a good analogy. Thank you, Rishwan. We have a question about deliverables, and you touched on it in the presentation, but also in your feedback about the QBR. What sort of deliverables can a client expect as an output of this service? If you can revisit that as well.
Sure. I mean, clients will receive a security maturity level assessment, which is a score against a specific framework that is not just our opinion, but an actual thing like what is it? And it's not just if you pass, it's a 1. If you don't pass, it's a 0. It's a weighted score. Something has more priority versus something else. So you'd get a better score for securing something that's more important and would reduce your risk footprint more. Then we have risk registers, which are very specific to an organization and how risks impacts that specific healthcare organization. We have roadmaps that plan out what the call it projects, improvements, or even sometimes it's a way of completely changing how you handle electronic health records or PHI. And it's a roadmap, what you should be doing, what the focus should be on. It's an executive dashboard that brings everything together and displays it in an executive fashion, board level report that is not only useful to the board itself, but to anybody in leadership, your cyber insurance company, even to the regulators. You can send it as a, hey, we do all the reviews that are required of us. We do dark web reviews where we are actually looking not only about what is exposure, but educating the client about how to reduce the exposure. And if you're seeing specific trends to a specific client or a specific healthcare organization, how they are being targeted just by looking at those signals. It's about policy guidance, what should be included in the policies, making sure those policies are being implemented, they're being disseminated, they are actually usable, specifically based on how an organization works. It's about supporting insurance questionnaires should they come in. It's about providing clarity, demonstrating progress, and support decision making at both technical and executive levels.
Thank you, Rishwan. That's fantastic. I think my favorite thing that you said during today's presentation is that by consuming this service, our clients can expect to be audit ready, right? We are being proactive. We are making sure we're covering off and we're not waiting until the last minute to make sure that our controls are in place, that they've been tested and validated. I think that that's fantastic. So Tyler, Rishwan, I appreciate your time today. I thought our conversation was very valuable. I don't see any further questions or comments in our chat at this time. So I'd like to thank our panelists for presenting today, and I'd like to thank our attendees for joining us. Again, we will follow up via email with a recording of today's session. And if you have any other questions, concerns, comments, please reach out to your solution advisor. Thank you, everyone, and have a great day.